Hi, Premier. How are you?
Very well. How are you?
Well, thanks. Thank you for chatting with us today, and welcome
Pleasure.
to the Chinese Herald and 1688 Media.
Thank you for having me.
I'll launch into the questions. You've been Premier for more than 12 months. During this time, what is your main area of focus, and what new areas are you looking on going into the election?
The main area of focus is having a strong economy and ensuring opportunity for the people of our great state. And in order to do that, we need to have an economic plan. That's exactly what we have, a long-term economic plan to keep New South Wales moving forward. But we've got to have the new interesting ideas for the future. And I announced recently a new future fund account for our children. And that means that our children will leave school at the age of 18 with a new account with a balance of up to $49,000 that they'll be able to use for obtaining education and other qualifications, also for a deposit for a home. Every mum and dad across New South Wales wants the best for their children, and I certainly want that, and I know that this account will make a real difference to people's lives.
Great. The rise on cost of living is currently the one key issue in the Chinese community. If you were re-elected, what strategies would your government provide to reduce this pressure?
Well, we've got $7 billion in cost of living measures through Service New South Wales. And I've championed this from when I was Treasurer and now as Premier. Our $150 back to school vouchers, helping mums and dads with those costs of school uniforms and school shoes. Our toll relief, 40% back for motorists who use our motorways regularly. We've also got our before and after school care vouchers, our active and creative kids. So for getting kids into sport, we have vouchers to help parents pay for those costs associated with that. I don't want any parent in these difficult economic times and challenging financial times with rising interest rates and rising rents to pull back on investing in their children. So whether it's kids sport, our creative kids vouchers for extracurricular activities like music lessons, arts, drama. This is something I'm incredibly passionate about. And on top of all of that, $250 off every energy bill, every family and household's energy bill across our state. And that's only under the Liberal government that's delivering that. So the focus is putting downward pressure on household budgets. I'm using our strong financial management and economic management to do that here in our state. But also, we have an obligation to set up our children to have a brighter and more prosperous future than we have. And that's why I know these kids' accounts are going to be a game changer for families across New South Wales.
Can you also go through in more detail what measures of support you will provide for renters in New South Wales, across New South Wales, to allow greater certainty and flexibility when they are looking to rent?
Yes. Well, the first thing that we did was last year we banned rent bidding from real estates in New South Wales, because what we found was that many tenants were being outbidded by each other, facilitated by real estate agents. So we've outlawed that, issued a whole lot of warnings to real estate agents to stamp that practice out. We're also moving to a reasonable ground evictions model, which gives greater certainty to tenants in terms of the means and the reasons for which they can be evicted. We're also extending notice periods for the end of fixed term leases from 30 days to 45 days. And I'm also introducing, which I think will make a real difference, a new optional standard lease agreement with 3 and 5 year terms. So that will give our tenants the greater ability to make a home. And I also think landlords will be attracted to it, because having greater certainty for landlords, knowing that they've locked that investment in for 3 to 5 years, I think gives them greater security too. So this will work for some, and I think it will give greater certainty to tenants, so they'll have that comfort of knowing, well, I'm here for 3 years or I'm here for 5 years, and that doesn't currently exist. And at the same time, we're allowing what is a bond rollover scheme. So when a tenant moves from home to home, rather than having to save that money to use for the next bond, we'll just simply roll the bond that they currently have over for their next property. So I think as a suite of measures, that will make a real difference. But the other thing that's really important from my view is that I want people to be able to buy their first home too. And that's why I'm scrapping stamp duty for first home buyers up to $1.5 million and they can choose a smaller annual amount instead. This will make a real difference for people getting into the property market. And if people don't have to save those tens of thousands of dollars for stamp duty and have that choice to pay a smaller annual amount, I know that it'll make a real difference in getting people into home ownership and reaching the great Australian dream.
Certainly does. The Labor government, they will establish a prevention panel on racism. What is your government's plan to tackle and deal with the tough issue on racism?
Well, the first thing I'd say, there is absolutely no place for racism, hate or vilification in any form in New South Wales. And we have a strong record on this. We've implemented programs through Multicultural New South Wales tackling this issue, our Community Partnerships Action Program, the Community Resilience and Response Plan, and the Remove Hate from the Debate Project. Those things have made a real difference. But the other aspect that we've set up here, which I think is important, is that our multi-faith, multicultural council has already started to provide advice to the government on how we can address these issues. And I will be an active listener and participant, understand where concerns are, and provide that support. Diversity is something that we shouldn't just tolerate. Diversity is something that we should celebrate, and that's what I'm very passionate about.
We can see that the Albanese government has started to make attempts to rebuild the bridge between Australia and China. Would this be an area of focus for the New South Wales government?
Well, we've just opened a trade office in China, and our relationship from a New South Wales perspective, has always been strong, and it's strengthened by those formal agreements with the Guangdong province and the Beijing and Shanghai municipalities. So that trade office that we set up we've set up 2 trade offices in Shanghai and Guangzhou. And I believe that they will make a real difference in driving those economic and cultural ties. If you look at the trade relationship, over $40 billion in merchandise from China, and we've exported $4.7 billion. So China remains our largest value-added and processed goods export market. So, and the other side, which I certainly saw during the pandemic, was the importance of international students and our educational exports to China. And that's why, as Treasurer in my previous role, I was really focused on making sure we got our university sector and got our international students back in as quickly as we could. I see the relationship. And in fact, we were the first Australian state to return international students. That didn't just happen. I was passionately driving that because I know those ties are important to both China and New South Wales. And I want to keep that going moving forward. And that's all part of our economic plan as the New South Wales Liberals here in our state. And I just want to keep that going forward.
Great. To finish on a lighter note, we did a quick survey with our audience on what questions they would like to ask you. And this one was a really interesting one. What is it like being a father of 7 children, 7 kids?
It's busy. It's busy, but it's a lot of fun. And to me, family is everything. It's the most important thing in life. It's more important than this job. And being able to spend time with them, see their little personalities, their individual personalities flourish and develop is something that I love.
Is it your little one's birthday today?
And it's Celeste's birthday. She turned
birthday.
one today.
Yeah, wonderful. Well, we'd like to thank you for your time today, and all the best for the election on the 25th of March.
Thanks so much, Wendy. Appreciate the time.
Thank you. Lovely to chat.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.